Hello and welcome to Unpacking Activities. The activity we're going to unpack today is a communicative drill. And communicative drills are very common in textbooks. So let's look at one in particular. In this case, the drill is targeting object pronouns. The students are supposed to take turns asking each other the following questions and then answering incomplete sentences using the correct pronoun. So for example, do you wash dishes every day? Yes, I wash them. The only positive aspect I can think of is that it's better than a mechanical drill. The difference between a communicative drill and a mechanical drill is that in a mechanical drill, students pay no attention to meaning whatsoever and they can complete it successfully. But in this case, the students technically have to understand what is being asked in order to say whether it is something that they do every day or not. So there is some focus on meaning. Notice that I said they technically have to pay attention to meaning. They don't really need to, because whether they do those activities or not doesn't seem to matter a whole lot. And saying that at least there's some attention to meaning or that it's better than a mechanical drill seems like a pretty low bar to me. We want to do our best to help them develop communicative ability in the target language. We want them to develop their skills thanks to our approach, not in spite of it. Let's look at the main two pitfalls with this activity. One of them is something that we already alluded to. It has no purpose. The students do nothing with the information provided by their partner. It's just about practicing direct object pronouns. And the other pitfall is that it results in unnatural language use. The use of the pronoun in answering incomplete sentences feels very forced in this context. So, is there anything we can do to improve this activity? Yes, at the very least, this activity needs a purpose. Why are students asking each other these questions? Other than to practice object pronouns, why would they need to pay attention to the information that their partner is sharing with them? That's what I mean by a purpose. So one thing you can do is frame it as a prediction and later on confirmation. So in step one, the students are predicting which activities their partners do every day. And then they collect the data by asking questions, and then they confirm whether that prediction was right or not. Another way of giving it purpose is to compare with real data. For example, if you had an infographic that shows how young people spend their time, you can adjust the questions so that the learners are collecting that data from their classmates and then comparing it to the information in the infographic. Some might object and say, well, but in this case, the students are not using the direct object pronouns, or at least they don't have to use them. And my response tends to be simply the question, are they communicating? Because that's my objective. But if for some reason you need an activity that targets direct object pronouns, then at least let's make it more engaging. And let's give them a reason to pay attention to meaning. And one way to do that is to turn it into a guessing game. The students come up with these statements, such as you buy it at the store, you have it in your backpack, you use it to write. And all of these statements use the object pronoun because we don't want to say what the object is. That's the whole point of the guessing game. And they read one clue at a time, and their partner has to guess after each clue. If they guess after the very first clue, they get 5 points. After the second, 4. After the third, 3. After the fourth, 2. And after the fifth clue, only 1 point. And if they didn't guess right after all of the clues, well, no points. They don't have to play in pairs. You could turn this activity into a whole class activity where you are the one reading the clues and the students are trying to guess. All in all, I'm not a fan of communicative drills, but I do think they can be adapted. The main thing is to keep in mind whether students are paying attention to meaning for a purpose. Instead of determining the value of an activity based on whether students are using a particular structure or not, Let's evaluate the activity based on whether it involves a purposeful exchange of information. If you have any other ideas for adjusting these types of communicative drills, please write them in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.